I think it's safe to say that, you know, is it even correct in saying microtransactions have gotten out of hand when they've been egregious for so long? In the beginning, as in the golden age of COD, when you would purchase the game for $60, you'd get additional map packs or season passes ranging from $10 to $50. These had a plethora of multiplayer maps, and with the Treyarch CODs, a new zombies experience. And all was well. The substantial DLC content was paid, and everything else was all earnable in-game by playing. Then it began. In Black Ops 2, the first DLC pack got some pushback at the time, which in retrospect is hilarious seeing what we have now, for its inclusion of the first DLC gun, the Peacekeeper, an SMG AR hybrid that had basically no recoil. This was the first real accusation of pay to win in Call of Duty, as you couldn't access the gun unless you had purchased the Season Pass or the first DLC pack. Now, was the gun actually pay to win? No, it wasn't. It was completely middle of the road, jack of all trades, master of none type weapon. But that's not really where microtransactions got its start in COD. It was at the end of BO2's life cycle where they would add personalization packs. These were custom camo and reticles that could be applied to all, and let me repeat that, all your weapons for $1.99. Yes, in Black Ops 2, you could buy a camo for $2 that could be applied to every gun in the game. There was also an extra slot pack, which gave you more custom class options, allowed you to save more films and screenshots for $2. And the calling card packs, which gave you calling cards for just $1. So yeah, Black Ops 2's microtransactions really were microtransactions, as they were no more than $2 and gave you only cosmetic options. Nothing that could affect gameplay or run your bill. COD Ghosts would also follow suit by having personalization packs for all your weapons, also priced at $2, the same as BO2. Now, COD Ghosts also had two DLC weapons within its map packs, the Ripper and the Maverick, an AR sniper hybrid and an SMG AR hybrid. They were originally only available within the map packs themselves, but Ghost added the option to buy them separately for $4 a piece. So, could this be called pay to win? As the guns themselves could be bought without having to spend the $50 for the season pass, or $15 per map pack. The debate could be made. But Ghosts also had two new forms of cosmetic microtransactions, one being characters and the other being announcers. The characters ranged from $2 to $4 depending on which one you purchased, which at the time felt funny to have skin packs for your character in a first-person shooter where you can't even see it, but regardless, the announcer packs were $2.99 each and gave you the option between Arlie Ermy and Snoop Dogg.
Rack up points by reaching the enemy portal, you dig?
Once again, the microtransactions in Ghosts were microtransactions. And while the options were getting a bit odd and incrementally increased in price, they were still under $5. I remember people complaining about the Ghost character skins and camos back then, arguing about how it was BS that they were making us pay for these things. Oh, how much worse it would get. Advanced Warfare. AW would also bring back camo packs. Sometimes they would be the standard $2 for gun camos, or for your exosuit, or $4 for a combo of both. Pretty much keeping the same... Okay, we know none of these matter. The supply drops, the loot boxes, that's what the main focus of the microtransactions really were in this game. And it's a big reason why you saw them everywhere in every major AAA game at the time. Because if it was just a bunch of skins, no one would care. They had to throw something of value into it, while also cluttering it up with garbage that no one really wanted. That's how people got addicted to buying tons of them, in the hope they'd get some of the new weapon variants. Basically, better versions of all the existing guns in the game. Even when the new DLC guns were added, the variants were what players really wanted. And they were only obtainable in supply drops. This was gambling, 100%. And the argument on if they were pay to win was very convincing when you realize that there was always at least one variant that was better than the base gun. The thing that those who defended this system would say is, well, because there were so many variants, if you got one, you gain access to the new weapons. And while yes, that was true, the drop rates for something of value was not good. Which brings us to the pricing of the supply drops. A single supply drop runs you $1.99, which is itself a microtransaction. A pack of 6 will cost you $9.99. So now we're already reaching the price of the Variety Map Pack from COD 4. The 13 supply drop bunch is $19.99. So now that's already $5 more than an entire DLC pack. A 28 pack will set you back $40, which itself is only $10 less than the entire season pass. And the kicker, a 58 pack of loot boxes that costs $79.99, more than the actual game itself. And again, all of these are chances to get the variants. It's not like you're spending this money just to get the gun you want, but it's for the chance to get one, which may actually be worse because it's only designed this way to try and get as much money as possible from the system that's designed for you to lose. The introduction of loot boxes into Call of Duty would be a dark storm cloud that would take over the franchise for the next 4 years of games. Now, you could argue that AW supply drops were pay to win, but the Black Ops 3 loot boxes absolutely were. It's even more egregious when you remember that they stated before the game's release that there would be no weapons in the system, only cosmetics.
So that was a fucking lie.
They actually just lied and said that so the community wouldn't cause trouble for the sales before the game's release. The loot box exclusive guns were broken in some cases and gave you a 100% clear advantage over other players. But the problem is, there aren't variants in this game. Only default guns. So your chances of getting a new gun drops dramatically. And even with a guarantee to get a supply drop exclusive gun roll, they added so many melee weapon reskins by that point that they flooded the weapon pool. The BO3 loot boxes were scummy because you now no longer just purchased them with money. Now you have to spend money on a new currency called COD points that you then use to buy the loot boxes. And there are COD point packs that go up to $100, which is just outrageous because they only put that option there because they knew people would buy it. You're spending almost the entire cost of the game and the season pass if you were to buy that. The loot box microtransactions were absolutely horrible in Black Ops 3. But when you look at what they did to the zombie mode, it got even worse. Because the Gobblegum system, which Spinning 4 was literally a slot machine, they were absolutely pay to win. And it doesn't matter if it's a PvE mode or not, you're just giving players the option to skip all the challenge if they fork over money. World War II would be more of the same, and so would Infinite Warfare and Modern Warfare Remastered. Adding loot boxes and DLC guns into a game that didn't originally have it really made the community mad. And while Black Ops 4 probably had the best system when it came to earning things that were only in supply drops, by having you get earnable currency in-game, allowing you to simply get the exact gun you wanted, by 2018, loot boxes were on their way out of AAA games, as the gaming community was sick of them and major pushback was finally happening. This would lead to the next era of COD being infested with something that, believe it or not, would generate even more revenue for Activision: the Battle Pass and bundles. Starting with Modern Warfare 2019 and onwards, to copy Fortnite, the paid DLCs were replaced with free seasonal content and battle passes that themselves cost 1,100 COD points, which encourages you to buy more COD points to spend on bundles. What bundles are is individual camos or skin packs for a character or guns. Yes, not all guns like the old camo packs used to be, but one individual gun. And this is where the pricing gets worse and worse. $2. That's how much a camo pack was. Now, Look at these prices. 500 COD points for the cheapest bundle. A single camo on one weapon. These so-called mastercrafts go for 3,000 COD points. There isn't even a COD point bundle that you can buy for that many. You'd have to spend $20 and then another $5. A single reactive camo on a single weapon for almost $30. That means that camos are 15 times more expensive than what they were 12 years ago. That inflation on camo prices is ridiculous, as you're getting less for more. A camo pack in 2013 would be available for every gun in the game. Now, you're spending $30 for one. And people say that the loot boxes were bad? The reason why the camo and COD point situation is so high is because of the stigma of spending hundreds on random loot boxes seems far less egregious than the same amount on a guaranteed item. So it's literally tricking people into spending the same, if not more, on COD points because they just hike up the prices on everything. You spend $2 to get 200 COD points, and you'll be able to get nothing, absolutely nothing of value with it. And the argument that because Warzone is connected, you no longer lose your purchases from the previous year is invalidated by Warzone 1 being taken down. So all those skins, camos, bundles, and tracer packs, just gone. May as well have just been playing Advanced Warfare and hitting for the Obsidian Steed. And if you think for 1 second that Activision will stop here, don't. I guarantee you'll see more and more marketing tactics to trick people into spending even more COD points for more expensive bundles, because people actually buy them. There are individuals who feel that pressure and FOMO to spend $30 on a single gun skin in a game that will be dead in a year. $30 could get you 2 separate map packs for Advanced Warfare. That was 8 multiplayer and a zombies map. Now, that same price gets you a pretty animation on a single gun. It's just pathetic. And leaning back on the topic of losing out on content when you're offline, what do you think will happen when these games are entirely dead or the servers are shut down? You'll either be sitting in an empty menu looking at all the wasted bundles you purchased, or they'll simply not exist at all because the newer games are either always online or none of the buyable content added to the game is even accessible offline at all. Bottom line, this situation will only get worse and Activision will only get more greedy as long as there are those giving them their money.